I'd like to announce that a quorum is present. The meeting is duly called, and notice of the meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meeting Act. The following board members are in attendance: Tracy Miller, Allison Lasan, Catherine Sells, Dr. Buddy Bonner, Angie Cox, Christy Hassett, and Jenny Prosnick. We will now convene into closed session as authorized by Texas Government Code Section 551, specifically 551.071, 072, and 074. The time is 6 o'clock p.m. We will now convene into open session. The time is 7:01. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance and the Texas Pledge. Welcome to all, inside and out. The Lewisville ISD Board of Trustees meets monthly to receive reports from staff and take action on recommendations from the superintendent. The board receives the full agenda and all supporting documents 10 days in advance of these regular meetings, which allows us to ask and receive answers to many of our questions. The board also meets in regularly scheduled workshops and work sessions where staff discussions and presentations are given for many of the agenda items. This protocol means lengthy discussion or a litany of questions on every agenda item often is not necessary, and as a board, we should have appropriate knowledge and preparation for responses regarding the content of the meeting tonight. Additionally, we no longer are limiting the number of staff and community members as in-person attendees. We respectfully ask that you maintain social distancing and other health protocols while attending this evening's board meetings. Furthermore, we ask that all in attendance conduct themselves respectfully at all times during the meeting. Any outbursts or disruptive behaviors may result in your removal from the board meeting. Consideration and action items discussed in closed session. Someone like to make a motion? Ms. Sells?
Yes. I move that the board approve Ms. Christy Lyles as the new Director of Athletics for Lewisville ISD as recommended by Administration and a Personnel Selection Committee.
Thank you. Second by Dr. Bonner. Any questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Welcome, Christy. Thank you, Christy. Congratulations. Recognitions and Student Spotlight. Chief Communications Officer Amanda Brim will share with us this month's recognition in Student Spotlight.
Board members, our first recognition is with ABM, and Janet Kinney is going to share with us some information from ABM.
Good evening, Dr. Rogers, Mr. President, Board of Trustees. We're delighted to be here tonight. It's a very exciting time for us. ABM began our relationship with the district in 2016 when we were first awarded the custodial contract. And on behalf of our entire team, Dr. Rogers has made us feel like part of the family here. So we're very grateful for that. And we began a new contract this year, and as part of that new contract, we wanted to show our commitment to Lewisville ISD and let you know how much ABM appreciates being part of the team. So I'm here tonight with Mike Case and Mac Owika, and we're here to present two checks. The first check here for $50,000, and it is to Lewisville ISD, the general fund, and another check here, Lewisville Education Foundation. So once again, we really appreciate the opportunity to be part of this team.
Flower Mound and Marcus High School students achieved top honors at the Texas Association of Future Educators State Conference and Educators Rising National Conference. FMHS had 5 students qualify to compete at nationals, including Jason Street, who won in the Exploring Education Support Service Careers. He was also named Texas Student of the Year, earning a $1,000 scholarship. In addition, FMHS teacher Claudia Bell was named the Texas Leader of the Year. MHS won the Outstanding Taffy Chapter Award, and 4 students qualified for nationals, where Taylor Mendoza took 3rd place in lesson planning and delivery humanities. And Caitlin Casasso won 1st place in exploring student service careers. Caitlin also received the Leadership Award, earning a $1,000 scholarship. Congratulations to these amazing future educators. In Lewisville ISD, our Parent-Teacher Association In Lewisville ISD, our parent-teacher associations are committed to supporting our students, teachers, and schools. Organizations like these are what ensures our students have valuable learning experiences, and the district is happy to recognize the PTAs at Castle Hills, Highland Village, Liberty, Southridge, and Timber Creek Elementary Schools, as well as Forestwood Middle School, for being named a National PTA School of Excellence. Congratulations to these outstanding PTAs. LISD appreciates your continued support of our students, teachers, and schools. LISD's Director of Fine Arts, Amanda Drinkwater, was named the Texas Bandmasters Association's 2020 Bandmaster of the Year. The Bandmaster of the Year award is presented to a Texas band director who has shown excellence in musicianship, leadership, and responsibility. Since the inauguration of the award in 1955, Drinkwater is one of only 3 women to be named a Texas Bandmaster of the Year. What an incredible honor, Miss Drinkwater. Lewisville ISD is proud of you.
My name is Jeffrey Kosh. I'm the Chief Executive Director of Student Support Services, and I have the privilege to get to work with Amanda Drinkwater every day. On behalf of LISD, we are very proud of you and this award. Thank you.
I want to thank everyone in attendance this evening for being here. It is important to understand this is a Lewisville ISD business meeting for the board. And while it is open to the public and we do accept public comment, this is not a meeting of the public. Before we begin the public comment agenda, let me make very clear the expectations we have for the audience behavior. If it should go without saying, but everyone in this room should be treated with respect, whether you agree with their comments or not. Audience members who heckle, mock, boo, or otherwise disrupt the speaker who is at the microphone will be removed from the meeting and will forfeit their opportunity to speak. Further, I think it is important for the community to understand that while we cannot limit non-residents of LISD from speaking at our meetings, it is fair to say the opinions of speakers who do not have children in our district or do not pay taxes in our district do not influence the decisions of this board. Persons desiring to address the Board of Trustees must fill out a speaker's card. No presentation shall exceed 3 minutes. The board cannot deliberate on any subject that is not included on the agenda. Non-residents will be given 1 minute at the end of the meeting. This open forum section will last for a duration of 75 minutes or 25 speakers max. Anyone desiring to address the board who is completely filled out a speaker card but is not called during the first 75 minutes will be called after the board completes the agenda. A couple things to note. This is a meeting of the board. If you want to speak to us, you can speak to me or the board, not address staff and not address staff by name. This is for you to speak to us and not our staff or Dr. Rogers or anybody else in the room. Second is I would ask that you speak slowly and clearly into the microphone, as we will at the dais if we're wearing masks. Third, let me just say that while some think that virtual learning is on the agenda, Virtual Learning Academy is not virtual learning. It is something that we've offered for years in LISD, so it's not an agenda item. However, since most of you that have signed up on that are residents, we are going to allow those comments to speak as they came in. We have 55 cards, so buckle up. First speaker, Julie Davenport of Flower Mound. Budget items, virtual school funding. Let's go to the next speaker, Michelle Cassidy of Flower Mound, District Improvement Plan and Funding.
Is this on? Okay. My name is Michelle Cassidy. I'm a mother to 2 girls, a 3rd grader and a 7th grader currently attending Lewisville ISD. I am an HR manager for a construction company. My company follows OSHA and CDC recommendations, local health data, and current level of community spread of COVID-19. These factors shape our safety practices in order to protect both our employees and customers. Thankfully, the governor's executive order permits private employers like mine to make decisions based on data of state and local health departments. I am saddened that my kids, their teachers, and school staff cannot be guaranteed the same consideration. The current variant is 50% more contagious than last year. Kids under 12 remain without the option of getting a vaccine while returning to an in-person only school option this year. You, our school board, say that you won't go against Governor Abbott's executive order and that it's about following the law. 70 other school districts in Texas of all sizes show that it isn't that cut and dry. We are in a pandemic. Denton County Public Health, the CDC, and the American Academy of Pediatrics all advise a layered approach that includes mask wearing. Our pediatricians who have signed an open letter recommending mask mandates have seen a severe uptick in COVID-related visits. Hospital ICUs are at capacity. This is not the flu. Our children are still waiting to become eligible for a vaccine. Many schools in this district are STEM accredited. Do they deserve to keep that accreditation if they can't follow the evidence and scientific consensus? This is utterly fundamental to the scientific method. Protect our children while they cannot protect themselves. Provide a safe environment for all students and staff. Current level of community spread should dictate these decisions, not people's opinions. Require masks. Stop letting people's lack of personal responsibility fail us all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cassidy. Has Ms. Davenport showed up? Tamara Wilder Carrollton, regarding items, consent items 2A, 2B, 2C, 2D, and 2E. Shane Bieber, Lewisville, regarding item 2E. Sorry, Reber, I got that wrong.
Good evening. I'm Shane Reber, Lewisville, Texas. I have children in Briar Hill and also at Marcus. First of all, before I even begin, I want to say thank you for the mitigation efforts that you have brought in. I do appreciate the air filters. I do appreciate the mitigation that is there, but I want to make sure it's consistent. I'm not a germaphobe. I've always been the type to champion the immune system and the benefit of dirt under the nails. I really didn't believe in the flu shot either. I felt about flu the way they feel about COVID. I have made fun of this mask. But COVID's not the flu. 4.6 million people, victims, including my cousin, in less than 2 years. It's far more fatal than the flu. 1,460 confirmed cases in LASD, not including this week. And we aren't taking temperatures or anything. This is an honor system pandemic. About half the population is unvaccinated and risking its worst effects. And even given the benefit of the doubt to the temporary immunity of those who already got it, that still leaves quite the playground for the virus. A virus for which many of our students do not yet have a vaccine, and likely less than half the rest are vaccinated because of their parents' decisions. LISD is a keystone of the community. Every day, about a sixth of the population of this region occupies our schools, shares whatever they've got, and then takes it out into the community. LISD is a major source of the spread in Denton County. Our lack of pandemic policy is probably the number one single source of the numbers to which we now react, because we started out this school year treating COVID like it was no big deal. And you might say, well, the TEA said, or the governor said, but what do we tell our children when they said, well, my friend said, anti-maskers say COVID is the new flu. This is a self-fulfilling prophecy if we don't do anything about it. Anti-maskers say we need herd immunity through infection. That's the strategy of 16th century Europe. Anti-maskers say we need to see our kids smile. Well, how much do our kids smile when classmates don't show up for class, or teachers don't show up, or when their relatives don't come back from the hospital? How big do they smile when the cough won't go away and they can't taste anything and the test comes back positive? As long as we continue to allow folks not to mask, as long as we continue to allow large assemblies of kids in any grade level to be in crowded situations, as long as we continue to be reactive and minimalist, the more opportunities we provide for COVID to mutate. As long as we painfully and pridefully brag about our freedom, the more this virus can become not the new flu, but the new plague. It can become worse. We have to look out for our kids.
Thank you, Mr. Reber. Chief Kerbo, Lewisville. Welcome, Chief.
Thank you, Mr. President. That's retired chief, by the way.
Once a chief, always a chief.
Yeah. I promise I'll be very brief. I'm here just to make sure that the board is aware of the city bond election that's the city of Lewisville called on the November ballot. They're going to issue some general obligation bonds to build a new public safety center there. And they plan to do all this on the same footprint that the existing Central Fire Station and the police headquarters ends up being. These guys will tell you that are here in uniform that they are running out of space. And so this will be a much needed facility. They've had some space analysts look at it, and we believe that they're going to have enough space in this facility to take us to build out. So whatever our projected population ends up being, there will be plenty of room for the additional staff that we'll have to provide there. I started a political action committee that is very much in support of this bond election, and I encourage anybody that's a resident of the city of Lewisville to follow the same. The real key thing is there's no additional tax burden on our residents or our business owners, so it's a win-win for everybody. We get a brand new facility that'll take us through total build out, and it'll be good for everybody. I think it will promote student safety too, by the way. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, retired Chief Gerbo. Dr. Abbas Flarmond.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ibrahim Abbas, live in Flower Mound, and I'm a hospital medicine physician. Basically, I take care of hospitalized patients, and I've been taking care of patients infected with COVID-19 since the very beginning of the pandemic, and in fact, spent all day today taking care of patients with COVID-19. In the beginning of the pandemic, healthcare workers were thought to be heroes because we put ourselves in harm's way, but I honestly never felt that way. I felt it's a sacred duty to take care of my patients. My hospital did everything in its power to keep me safe, and everybody wears a mask in the hospital still, and we have provided all the protective equipment we need. I have 3 boys under the age of 12 who are in 3 different schools in LISD, and I don't feel the same safety for them. When they go to school, I put masks on their faces, but I know there are several people in their classrooms, including teachers, who don't wear masks. And my 5-year-old actually got exposed in the very first week of school. And I can tell you it was not a good experience because I just feel like these children are completely innocent and they are being put in harm's way for no fault of their own. They cannot even get vaccinated. And I think masks are such a common sense, simple, easy, risk-free, public health measure. It just boggles my mind why are we even talking about this. If you talk about parental choice, well, are we going to allow people to smoke in this room? We're not, because we know smoking is injurious to other people's health. Now, the smoker may want to smoke, but we're not going to let him smoke here. Same thing goes with seat belts. Same thing goes with speed limits. Are we going to allow parents to not put their kids in car seats? Probably not, right? Because we consider safety of that child as the same, because we are people of a civilized society who are responsible for the health of each other. That's how society works. You take care of each other. Unfortunately, I think our children are not being protected like they should be. In the beginning of the pandemic, we were offered the choice of virtual schooling. People who wanted to send their kids to school, they did. But right now, it's just we're kind of looking at this pandemic as if it doesn't exist. There's no problem. Just go to school like you are. Nobody checks temperature. There's no worry about anything. Initially, it was said we're not going to even report positive cases, but then that changed. And I imagine our governor has to win an election, so he had to do the law against the mask mandate so he doesn't lose the Republican primary, which is fine. But it puts, everybody at harm's risk. And we see this in the hospital. We see people who are getting sick from sometimes not even fault of their own because they get exposed different places. So please consider masking for everyone, including everybody in this room. If you believe in masks, then maybe you can put a mask on while you're here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Abbas. Patsy Mazur, Flower Mound. Welcome.
Hi, how you doing? Patsy Mazur, 1821 Castle Court. I am not here to talk about mask mandates. I am here to talk about the fact that LASD needs money, and it looks like it because you got 2 $50,000 checks sitting up there. When you need a bond election passed, you come to the residents of LASD and the different municipalities, and you ask us to please go and vote so our taxes can increase. As a taxpayer in Flower Mound, I would like you now to go to bat for us for the land sale of the 2 properties that you have in Flower Mound. I would really like you all to get up and step up to the plate and do that for us. We know that LASD has debt, and I think the sale of those 2 properties would really help you. And in return, when we put houses on those properties in Flower Mound, we will also get property tax revenue, which I do believe the town of Flower Mound needs that as well. So as a taxpayer in Flower Mound, I would really like for you all to go to bat, maybe call some people in the district and let them know district-wide that this is a land sale that maybe everyone should get behind to bring in, I don't know, a few more $1 million for LASD. Seems like a pretty simple thing that you could get behind, especially when you come and ask us for our vote for bond elections. So I would like you to be good stewards of the money that, on our behalf, and I really appreciate your time tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Patsy. Robin Dotson, Flower Mound.
Hi, my name is Dr. Robin Dobson, and I live in Flower Mound. I have 2 children in LISD, a 2nd grader and a freshman. I'd like to thank the board for listening to us, and I commend you all for your professionalism in the last meeting and in this meeting. Since the last meeting, the COVID case count in our area has continued to rise. Last week, Denton County logged several days with 0 ICU beds. Denton County Public Health Director Matt Richardson is quoted by WFAA this weekend as saying it is an all-time high in cases in ICU beds filled. The highest number among all age groups is the 12 to 19 age group. They account for 39% of cases in Denton County. That's our school children. Since the last meeting, a definitive study was released, peer-reviewed study, which showed that masks work. And if anyone would like that citation, I'm happy to provide it. Masks are safe and effective and remain the single best tool we have to protect our children, particularly those under 12 who are not eligible for vaccination. Masks are most effective, importantly, when worn by the person who has COVID, while they're still effective for the person wearing the mask. If there is an unmasked infected person, that effectiveness goes down significantly. Since the last meeting, the federal government has pledged to help any school district who has financial penalties assessed because they have taken steps that are recommended by virtually every medical association and public health agency in this country to keep our kids safe. Let's come to budget. Enrollment in LISD has decreased by my estimate by 3,128 students, at a loss of an estimated $40.66 million. Now, I'm sure that the members of the board will be much more familiar with those numbers, and so please feel free to correct the record if I'm wildly off. Obviously, we do not know all the reasons, and they are probably varied for that decrease, but I personally know multiple parents who have unenrolled their children in LISD because of a lack of COVID safety measures. They don't feel that their children are safe. We can do the right thing. Rarely is the right thing so clearly demonstrated by the facts and supported by health agencies. Our kids are getting sick. We can keep them safe in person so that they can learn in their best lives. Masks work. Please consider adding a mask mandate to the agenda for the next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dobson. Dr. Santiago, Flower Mound.
I'm JP Santiago. I am not just a physician, but I am also a father of 2 LISD graduates, and I have two children currently in LISD, one at Flower Mound High and one at McCamey, who is too young to be vaccinated. I have devoted 25 years of my life to the preventive medicine, primary care, and medical education. I stood at this very podium a month ago warning about the threat posed by the Delta variant. Let's review what's transpired since then. Since the start of school, the 7-day rolling average of pediatric COVID cases in Denton County has doubled. 1 in 7 children will develop impacts from COVID-19 infection beyond 6 months. I have already seen these impacts from the multi-system virus that affects both neurocognitive function, renal function, and cardiac function. The cost of COVID in children cannot be measured in hospitalizations and in deaths, but in long-term sequelae. In my work, I have already seen college pre-participation sports physical forms asking specifically about the history of COVID in a candidate athlete and whether they have had a cardiology evaluation to participate in sports. The Delta variant has a reproductive number of 5 to 9. That means for every one infected person, they can infect up to 5 to 9 other people. Someone infected with the Delta variant is most contagious days before they develop symptoms. Wearing a mask is not about personal protection. It is about protecting those around you. If you are in the incubation period, your mask protects me. If I am in the incubation period, my mask protects you. Published, peer-reviewed scientific studies have shown that mask mandates act as a protective blanket in communities where COVID transmission is high. In all of Denton County, 906,000 people, we have 1 ICU bed left. We have 70 open hospital beds. The pediatric hospitalization rate for COVID is only 1%. But what is 1% of nearly 400 cases a week? You run the risk of 4 children in the hospital each week with the case numbers in this district. Every major scientific, medical, governing body has recommended with urgency the need for universal mask use in our school. Your own code of ethics under honor and conduct says, and I quote, "I will base my decisions on fact rather than supposition, opinion, or public favor." So I have to ask, not just as a physician, but a concerned parent, why are we not acting on the facts?
Thank you, Dr. Santiago. Melissa Rossi, Lewisville. Kate Julin. Kate Julin, Flower Mound. Is Julie Davenport here? Okay. Heidi Wicker, Highland Village. Hello, neighbor.
Hi, how are you? So my name is Heidi Wicker, and can you guys hear me okay? Okay. I just really wanted to thank you for the job that you did last year. I have a 10-year-old. She's not able to be vaccinated, and we did the virtual option. It's not perfect. It never was supposed to be. But we were able to keep her home and safe. And now she's back in class, and her school is a wonderful school, and they will do everything they can to keep those kids safe. But we need to give them the tools to do that, such as a virtual option that I would love to use for her if her school has high cases. Right now, we are looking at doing private online schools, and we love LISD. I'm a proud parent. I never would have ever considered of taking her out of LISD. Her teachers are great. The leadership at her elementary school is nothing short of wonderful. But we've got to have options to keep a 10-year-old that can't get vaccinated safe. And at her school, they have very low case numbers, but the majority of the kids are wearing masks. Her teachers are wearing masks. The leadership is wearing masks. It's about, the peers, everyone being involved to keep these kids safe. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Heidi. Erica Drapp. Lewisville.
My name is Erica, and I'm a mother of a 17-month-old baby girl who was born the day after Texas shut down. That being said, I haven't exactly taken LASD's lax response this year very seriously or very lightly. We need to mandate masks in our school. We need to protect our children. We need to protect our teachers, our staff, all of those who go home to have families depend on them. COVID cases are continuously rising, and we're seeing record highs. They aren't going to slow down until we do what we can to prevent the spread. Schools are going to be ending up shutting down because there's too many students and teachers getting sick. Not enough substitutes to cover these positions. And I mean, it's already happening, just not in our district yet. There's so many steps taken last year, and I'm so appreciative of that. But this year, I feel like it's not being handled correctly. This has absolutely nothing to do with politics and everything to do with health and science. I asked the board to listen to science. I asked the board to listen to reason. I asked the board to listen to the parents begging you to help keep our children safe. We've come together pleading for you to help us protect our children, and we're not being taken seriously. And that's a shame. How many more teachers, children, family members have to end up in ICU beds or die because we're not listening to reason? We don't seem to be in this together anymore at all. And as a new mother, that's extremely disheartening. Her daycare is doing more to protect her than LASD is. And that's really, really sad. I ask you as a new mother to think about your children, how much you love them, and that immense love. Why wouldn't you want to do anything in your power to protect them? Why? Why won't you help me protect my child?
Thank you. Michelle Ray, Flower Mound. Ma'am, would you like to take your sign? Is Miss Ray here? Beth Sharma, Flower Mound.
Good evening, LISD trustees and administration. My name is Beth Sharma. I'm a Flower Mound resident. I have 2 high school children who've attended LISD since kindergarten. As a parent, my primary job is to keep my children safe, and I believe that is your primary job as well. I also have a sacred duty to teach my children to be responsible, good and caring members of their communities, and to be critical thinkers. They should stand up for the things in which they believe in, defend their opinions, which honor their values. I believe that is your duty too. I set the primary example of citizenship for my children. You as trustees and administrators also set examples of citizens in leadership positions for our children. As a parent, a neighbor, a voter, a Texan, an American citizen, I am also part of a global community. As a citizen, my actions or inactions have consequences well beyond me. If a law, an executive order, or a rule is harmful or is unjust, I am called by my obligation as a parent, neighbor, community member to speak up, to protest, to address those that can choose to do better and hold them to their obligations. The last time I addressed you, it was to request the cancellation of 3 middle school orchestra programs because that action would have created harm not only to our kids, but our communities as well. You listened and responded. Now I am urging you to stand up to an harmful executive order and require at minimum masks in all LISD schools. Stop the preventable harm to our students, educators, families, and communities. Follow the CDC and the American Academy of Pediatric guidelines for school safety and do it now. As we should no longer hide behind an executive order that harms our children and communities, we should no longer listen to those yelling, "You can't make me," because our government should be making laws for public safety, because decent people in civilized societies should show respect and care for their fellow human beings, even if it's not the law. Citizenship carries both rights and responsibilities. So right now, we need a collective approach for safety, and it will be far more effective than any individualistic approach. Right now, while masks provide protection to the wearer, they primarily serve as source control, and the greatest benefits occur if everyone wears them. Right now, we need you to act, because that is what we hired you to do. Never believe that a few caring people can't change the world. for indeed, that's all who ever have. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sharma. Jennifer Centillin, Carrollton. Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Jennifer Santillan. I have my daughter actually was a fourth grader in a local Homestead Elementary in Lewisville ISD until I recently withdrew her. I have served as an educator for the past 15 years, but today I come to you as a parent. In my experience as an educator, especially as a former school leader, we learned that nothing is more important than safety. In fact, when preparing for my principal test, I remember being told to always pick the choice that prioritized safety. Without safety, our children can and will not learn. As a former principal, my promise to parents was that I would keep their children safe under my watch, whether they appreciated my rules or not. There was absolutely no negotiation. I assumed all school leaders felt that way, until this year. Last year, I was so impressed with the protocols and precautions LISD implemented to prioritize the safety of the children. I was naive to believe that similar protocols would be implemented this year, with a more transmissible and contagious variant. To my surprise, the simplest measures were removed, and now the district has faced an ongoing, uncontrollable problem. In 22 days, there have been 1,400 cases in comparison to last year, which was 3,300 cases. How could the simplest measures be removed? That was my question. And then why? Why wouldn't there be safer protocols than last year due to the nature of how the virus evolved? Are our children less valuable than your staff? Was using the governor as a scapegoat reason enough to not mandate masks? We will not break the law. We've repeatedly heard. But what we haven't heard is that safety comes first. As a parent, it feels like the board is prioritizing a political agenda more than our children. And frankly, that is unacceptable. If you have a seat on the board without having set a foot in a classroom, you have no idea the barriers educators are facing. And unfortunately, due to protecting their job, many teachers are unable to advocate for what is right. With about 100 vacancies, teaching vacancies, posted, you must reflect and wonder, why is it difficult to secure teachers and or subs? It is because to them, the lack of safety protocols aren't worth it. I do not blame teachers for feeling that way, but I do blame the board. You have disrespected the parents of the community through inappropriate emails, totally ignoring and dismissing recommendations from doctors in the local health county. You continue to disrespect parents of children with disabilities because they deserve a fair and appropriate public education. And it has now become a legal matter for many parents in the districts with students with disabilities. With the significant disproportionalities that are occurring with special education in your district, you cannot afford more disruption in instruction. And that's what some of your matters are, and some of your implementations are doing. You have failed to accommodate special populations, including English learners, with not providing equitable access to an education last year by not offering virtual education for bilingual students.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you. Andrea Sanders, Flower Mound. Okay. Matt, I've got someone named Heather. If they would like to give their last name, I'll let them speak. Otherwise, I don't have a full name for them. Jane Harder, Flower Mound.
Hello. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity to speak to you this evening. I want to extend my thanks to those of you who are following your own guidelines and wearing masks. I appreciate that very much. Actually, tonight I would like to read some words from a friend of mine who was unable to make it, so she had asked me to speak on her behalf. She's also a parent in the district. Let me find that for her, for you. I went shopping with my 10-year-old daughter at a local Tom Thumb last week. On the door was a sign that said, "Masks required, please." When we got inside, we saw every single employee at this Tom Thumb grocery store wearing a mask, every single one. They didn't appear to be angry or upset. They just appeared to be working like normal. Granted, I didn't ask them if they were happy or not. I didn't ask them if they wear masks because they're following their own personal responsibility, as Governor Abbott suggests that we do, or if they felt wearing the mask were prohibiting their own personal liberties. Personal responsibility is a willingness to both accept the importance of standards that society establishes for individual behavior and to make great personal efforts to live by those standards. So every single employee there was wearing a mask, and that seemed to model good personal responsibility. I cannot say the same for the shoppers. So the question for us to think about is, if you see a sign on the door and you also see that every single employee is wearing a mask, what exactly do you need to do then to model the personal responsibility that Governor Abbott is counting on us to show? Do your personal liberties override the personal liberties of everyone around you? It seems that you might have two choices when it comes to personal responsibility. You can either put your mask on, go in the shop or the school, or you can choose to be offended, turn around, and not enter that establishment. If you go in without a mask, you wonder if you might be disrespectful to the employees or the business owner or the other people who need to be there, who are also trying to stay healthy during this pandemic. If you walk away, you do not get to complain about businesses closing or the economy hurting. You become part of the problem. The point is that you become part of the problem in our community if you go in without a mask, or you become part of the problem if you just choose to walk away. If you fool yourself, it's okay to walk away around.
Thank you, Ms. Harder. Kathleen Hayhurst from the great town of Double Oak. Okay. Stephanie Fisher, Flower Mound. Hello, Ms. Fisher.
Hello. Good evening to all of you. My name is Stephanie Fisher. I have two kids in LISD Elementary. And when I left to come to this meeting today, I told my kids where I was going, and my kindergartner said, "Thank you, Mommy, that's important." And she's 5, and she understands. And I sent her into an LISD classroom with about 15% masked kindergartners and no masked teachers. And I sent her in there unvaccinated because she can't be. And I hope and I pray that this won't be the day that I get the call. You know the one. But, you know, my kids might get through just fine, but they might not. They might come down with long-term respiratory issues, or they might end up at children's intubated, like countless others that are going through that right now. And maybe it won't be my children, maybe it'll be hers or hers, but it doesn't really matter whose kid it is. They're all our kids, right? Or maybe kids bring it home. The kids are fine, but someone else in the family is not. I have 2 girlfriends with dead husbands now. One died on Saturday, just Saturday. I saw a sign here today that says masks don't work, which is blatantly false. We saw masks protect our kids and teachers last year. We saw it. We've seen peer-reviewed scientific studies. This isn't opinion. This is fact. It's proven fact. So I get that it is hard to choose to defy the executive order. I get it. And I know we're asking a lot. But you can. And you have the power to do it. You have the power to make hard decisions. You have the power to protect our kids and teachers and get us through this pandemic. Just like countless other districts around us have. And I believe in you. I believe in you to make the right decision and do it as hard. Thank you so much for listening to us today. It feels really good to be heard, and we appreciate all you do for our kids.
Thank you, Ms. Fisher, and thank you for those comments. Rachel Nahn, Flower Mound. Rachel Goss, Flower Mound. Susan Allen, Lewisville. Matthew Silvano, Flower Mound.
It's Matthew Salvoni. I'm a father of a son at Timber Creek Elementary. I don't watch the news. I don't side with a particular party. I was raised to think for myself, to trust my beliefs, and to stand for what is right. I'm standing here before you because I care about others. I'm not wearing this mask for me. It's itchy, it tickles. My glasses get all foggy. You all know. I'm okay feeling uncomfortable for others. A mask is a simple way to say, I care about you. I want life to go back to normal just as much as anyone here. If this mask makes it easier for someone to feel a safe sense of normalcy, I'm down. If this mask can help protect one at-risk person from getting sick, I'm down. If this mask can help give a break to a nurse or a doctor who's been going nonstop for 1.5 years, then I'll proudly wear it for them. We have proven we cannot be personally responsible, so we must implement a mask requirement. For the community, for society, we're not only making a decision for today, we're teaching our children how to think about others for life. I'm going to teach my kid to be kind to others, and I'm going to lead by example. Will you join me?
Thank you, Mr. Salvoni. Andrew Karstensen, Flower Mound.
Members of the board, I'd like to thank you for your work in educating our children to ensure their future as contributors to society. As an Army veteran, husband, volunteer, and father of 2 boys, I chose to move to Flower Mound, Texas area for its moral values, individual liberties, and people. I appreciate the values that LSD has implemented and wish you to continue keeping masks and COVID vaccines and gender assignment curriculum all optional, and do not allow critical race theory in our curriculum in our schools. My son is in pre-K, which currently follows LISD, and his speech is delayed. He needs to see the faces of his teachers in order to help him learn how to speak properly without slipping behind even further. Even as his early child intervention coach has said, there's more children in the program than ever with the COVID restrictions. This has required outsourcing and an extensive wait list. Development delays in children are not going to improve from more regulations hindering students' progression, causing more strain on families and an overloaded state program such as early child intervention. We cannot let this continue at the expense of our children's development. As a parent, I appreciate the natural and legal responsibility given to me and my wife when we bring someone into this world, to nurture them, to finance their well-being, and sacrifice to raise a future contributor to society. I especially appreciate the individual rights that I signed up to protect, and I gave up certain freedoms to do so. I have been continually surprised this past year as a civilian to experience our government and several school boards implement similar restrictions on the general public in a peacetime environment. In the words of President Reagan, freedom is a fragile thing, and it's never more than one generation away from extinction. It is not ours by way of inheritance and must be fought for and defended consistently by generation to generation, for it comes only once to a people. I strongly urge you, the school board, to continue in the policy of allowing parental control to be the deciding factor in my students' health care as opposed to the federal government.
Mr. Carstensen, thank you for your service. Christine Mance, Copper Canyon. Aliana Myers, Highland Village. Laura Cobb, Flower Mound. Carl Montz, Copper Canyon. Brian Cleary, Highland Village.
Hello, appreciate you guys. I would not want your job, but just telling you that right now. But thanks for listening to us tonight and for all the people coming out to let their voices be heard. This is kind of cool. I've never done this before, but special times calls for, stand up and let your voice be heard and pray that you guys use godly wisdom and do the right thing, and that's what we're hoping for. Because I don't know about you guys, but I'm tired of all this. I'm really tired of it. I'm tired of the division. I'm tired of the hatred. I'm tired of somebody trying to tell somebody what they should do and other people. I mean, even tonight, there's equal facts on both sides, or else we wouldn't have two sides talking about this, right? If everything was so cut and dried, we'd already done the other thing, right? But I do desire our society to be one which is kind, tender-hearted, and forgiving of one another. And I also want to be in one where other families respect the rights of others to raise your kids the way you see fit. I don't know about you, but if you ever tell somebody else how to raise their kid, that conversation never goes well. Not that I've ever done that, but I think you guys understand. I am a Christian. I love people. I desire for all people to flourish in our community. I love living in Highland Village and plan to live my life in such a way that blesses my entire community. And I believe the Bible provides answers for how to live in our community, even to situations like this. There are multiple spheres of authority, and I believe God is over all of them and has ordained all these spheres. One is the individual, personal autonomy. Another one is the family and the church, and lastly, the civil government. And each of these operate in their own sphere and may work together where they overlap, but not usurp the authority within those spheres. In the matter at hand today, the civil government does not have the authority to tell us how to take care of our health or the health of our family. So it's just not even, I feel bad that you guys are put in this position because it's not even your lane to drive in. You guys aren't a health organization, you're schools. And I just want to see you be able to focus on what you guys are good at, and that's teaching kids. So it just seems the best to me that the position is to leave the decisions for health with parents and with students. We all love each other. Nobody's trying to kill anybody's kids or anything else. We're all trying to get through the best we can, and we're just trying to do our best, and I just pray you respect that. Appreciate you guys. We do pray for you. My church prays for you guys every Sunday night, just so you know. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Cleary. Teresa Thomason, Flower Mound. Lisa White, Flower Mound.
Thank you all for listening to all of us. Appreciate that you guys have a tough job. It's been a very unique environment that we've been in for the last couple of years. I'll introduce myself that I'm Lisa White. I have two sons. One just graduated last year, and then one is currently in high school in Lewisville Independent School District. And I'm wanting to make sure, I am hearing all these things about danger and about mitigating risk with viruses and so forth. And I just want people to understand that there actually is health risk with masks. Whenever you wear a mask, one of the basic things with healthcare and that you learn whenever you become a nurse. I'm a registered nurse, and I've been a nurse for over 27 years. And one of the basic things that you learn about darkness, heat, trapping in moisture, less oxygen being available, what you learn is that bacteria tends to grow. So whenever you wear a mask all day, you're wearing something that's actually promoting the growth of bacteria. Whenever you look at the way kids wear masks, they don't have the proper training to wear a mask like, say, a doctor would. But you look at how kids wear them, and you can tell they don't wear them effectively. They're not able to change their mask. When they take them off, they place them on the table, or if they fall on the ground, then they end up putting the thing back on their face. So within an hour or 2 hours, there's no telling how many bacterias, how many viruses, how many items are actually on those masks. And there was actually a study done where some parents sent in their masks, their children's mask, after they had had a full day at school. And whenever they did that, they sent them to a lab where they had the ability, the equipment to test, to detect viruses, including the SARS-CoV-2, and then to check for all the different types of bacteria. What they found was very concerning. Now, there were some bacterias on there that weren't as serious as others, but there was a number of bacteria that were very concerning, and this is just with a small number of masks.
Thank you, Mrs. White. Thank you, Mrs. White. Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. White. Thank you, Mrs. White. Thank you. Thank you. Elizabeth Clark, Flower Mound. Holly Fox, Flower Mound.
I kind of ditto what Mr. Clearing said. I respect the fact that each of you have chosen to serve in a voluntary capacity, the children in our school district. And I know that we are living in very divisive times. We're not going to agree today on whether masks are or not efficacious, or whether when they work, when they don't work. You can just as many doctors or nurses who spoke tonight that say they do work. There are just as many that say on the other side that they don't. So I'm not here because I'm not a medical provider, but I do want to remind us here today that we do live in a constitutional republic. And I think people have forgotten that. I think even Joe Biden has forgotten that. I don't think he knows what he's doing, but that's a different conversation. The constitutional republic, the rights are reserved to the states. Those that are not provided to the federal government. So Mr. Biden does not have any authority to make any mandates regarding masks whatsoever, period. It's reserved at the states. Who has the decision or the authority in the states? We have three branches. We have the executive, we have the judicial, and we have the legislative. The school board is not a legislative branch. As you all know, and I'm sure you have counsel here that have advised you that you don't have authority to make law. You don't have authority to make those determinations about those things, especially those rules that are contrary to our executive branch. and our legislative branch. There is executive authority granted to our governor. I don't agree with it, but I believe in the rule of law. I don't believe he had constitutional authority at the beginning to order masks, but he did. Now, the shoes are on the other foot. Before, people were happy. The people who spoke before about mask our kids, they were happy last year. They're not so happy now. But the Executive Order 38 has given the power to our governor to say no masks in school. The Supreme Court has backed him up so far. And school districts who are going against him are being sued. Is that where we want our money to go? This is an incredible school district, and it always ranked high. My kids love it. By the way, I have two children, a junior and a sophomore. They love their teachers. They love the school. They don't like so much the masks.
Thank you, Holly. Carla Simmons Capel.
Hi, I have two children that have been in the school district this is their 11th year, and even though I live in Coppell, their father does pay taxes, so yeah, at the beginning of the meeting you said you wouldn't, basically something was read that you wouldn't listen to somebody that doesn't pay taxes to the district, but he does. Anyway, I'm a physician assistant, so I'm kind of caught in the middle on all of these issues. I don't feel like I'm pro-mask or for mask, honestly. I in my job am required to wear a mask, but I do feel like in the U.S. we need to be able to have the freedoms that we've been promised that we have. So I've asked my children to be respectful of people that they are around. And if we're at a grocery store and we see someone that is looking at my child because they don't have a mask on, I ask them to put that mask on because we need to be respectful to other people. But my biggest concern is about what the next step is going to be, whether or not as a school board you decide that our children need to be wearing masks to be allowed in the schools. I'm a big believer in vaccinations. All my family, we've all been vaccinated, but yet I've been told that no one's going to ask and no one's going to care whether or not my children have been vaccinated. If something down the road changes with what's mandated by the state or the CDC, regardless, I just hope you would take that into consideration before you send children home quarantined. My son that has been vaccinated was quarantined 4 times last year, and he was never positive. We always tested him, and I feel like his education really was impacted. He received zeros from teachers that couldn't really remember whether or not he was there. It was extremely unorganized when a child was quickly forced to go home in an hour's time when you have to pick up your child because they've been in a classroom and they don't know what kind of contact they truly had with someone identified as positive. So I just like y'all to think about that. If a student is willing to show that they've been vaccinated in the future, I'm just asking that maybe this is something you should bring up for more discussion at another meeting. That should be important. My job, I had to get vaccinated or I would have been fired. They fired everyone that was not vaccinated, and they said, you can just choose to work somewhere else. Well, I can't choose for my children another school district. By court order, they're in this school district from my divorce decree. But I would like to be able to keep my children in school if they are vaccinated and, depending on what happens in the future. So this is some comments I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Molly Chance, Flower Mound.
Thank you for letting me speak. Molly Chance. I'm a resident of Flower Mound. Our daughter is a junior at Flower Mound High School, and I know I've emailed you all a couple of times just to let you know I'm here actually to thank you, and I'm in support of mass choice. I want to tell you a little story real quick about our daughter. Last year, when masks were mandated, She had extreme anxiety over that, couldn't wear it for more than a few minutes, so she did virtual at home, and it was not the greatest experience at all. So she decided she would try it with the mask, and she did. However, we saw a tremendous decline in her health, not only physically, but mentally. And she came home daily with headaches, severe headaches. She came home so tired and exhausted, she couldn't function from the lack of oxygen. This was daily. She couldn't even get her work done. We never heard about anything she learned that semester, actually that whole year. It kind of felt like a waste, to be honest. This semester has been completely different, a 180 degree. She is thriving. She is back to her normal, joyful self. She comes home daily telling me about what she's learning in the classroom, about new friends that she's making. She can actually talk to people in class and actually hear the teachers. It's a complete different environment. And so I just want to tell you we have our daughter back because of this. And so it does impact lives on both sides. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Molly. Dina Gudzenko, Flower Mound.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me here. I am Dina Gudzenko. I have 3 children, 2 of them that are going to LISD school. One is a first grader and the other one is in kindergarten. We moved here to Flower Mound because of the freedoms and the wonderful schools that we have here. We have a choice that we can make as a parent, whereas other people are being forced. And we have done our studies on what masks do and don't. I have lots of family members that work in hospitals and in the Northwest where COVID is still spreading pretty bad and masks are mandated. And the list of different bacteria that are found on these masks that are being worn are pretty insane. A lot of them are causing pneumonia, tuberculosis, meningitis. Some of them even have yeast on them that were tested. I mean, who would want your child to wear this mask that has this bacteria on there? If this mask protects you from COVID, shouldn't we be tossing these masks every single day and being changed every 2 hours? My mom is a housekeeper, and she was ordered to change her mask every 2 hours or it would not be protecting her. So tell me that a child wearing this mask, throwing it on the floor from their food, dirty hands, touching it all the time, we should be afraid of these masks. If they think that COVID protects from the outside, then us touching the exterior of these things, we should be washing our hands and getting rid of these things. But no, instead we're putting these things on every single day afterwards. This is absolutely insane and horrific that we are doing this to our children. And then not to give us a choice as parents, I will be pulling my children out of school and homeschooling them because they're safer there than being mandated to do these things. And if the masks are protecting, and if you guys feel like these masks are so great, then why are you afraid of me not wearing it if it protects you? And if the vaccine is protecting you, then why can't I have a choice what I make for myself and for my children? If they protect you so good and you guys are not afraid of getting COVID, if you're vaccinated, then why do I have to get vaccinated? Because you know what? If your mask protects you, then wear it, but don't make me put a diaper on my face. Thank you.
Thank you, Dina. Sarah Vria, Flower Mound. Sarah Vria. Hey, Sarah.
Hi, everyone. First of all, I just want to thank everyone for being here, regardless of position. I know we live in a very divided world, and this here just tells me that everyone here cares about our kids. I'm here to speak on behalf of my child who's a kindergartner at Liberty Elementary School. I'm not here to throw out statistics and science because we know even that is confusing, depending on what side of the coin you're on. But I'm here to speak from the heart, and I'm here to think long term. I was one who was bought in at the beginning. I was caught up in fear. I thought if we could do this for 15 days, we can do this. You know, I wore the masks. I did it all, but then I eventually realized, whoa, this thing isn't going away. It's not going away. There seems to be more to the story here. And how far is this going to go? And we've seen how far it has gone in other countries. We've seen how it's going in Australia. We've seen how it's going in New Zealand. How far are we willing to go to protect our kids from something that's not going away? Are we willing to play God? We know that the vaccine cannot eradicate this virus because it has animal reservoirs. It's not like polio. It's something that will continue to make variants. We know from an Israeli study that was recently done that natural immunity is far more effective than vaccine immunity. So how far are we willing to go to play God? I, for one, am a Christian. I know I can't assume that all of you here are. But I know that until God makes a new heaven and a new earth, we are stuck with sickness in this world. And there is nothing we can do to stop it. God wants us to trust him and not man. In addition, I'm thinking about my child as a 5-year-old who's trying to learn emotional intelligence. Think of your kid when he was young or she, and a scary situation happened. What do? They look to their mom or their dad's face to see if they're safe and secure. Think about the charts that we teach our kids that you learn growing up. If a face looks happy, they're happy. If a face looks sad, they're sad. If our kids have to wear masks 40 hours out of the week, they're missing out on this opportunity to build emotional intelligence. And that's just as important. What kind of kids are we creating when we're not allowing them to look each other in the face? I'm also concerned about their immune systems long term. We know that our God-given immune systems were designed to be exposed to germs and to sickness, to get healthier and stronger, like working out. And sure, maybe we could prevent COVID or flu for a little bit, but...
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you. Brett Chance, Flower Mound. Hello, Mr. Chance.
Thank you for letting us speak. I just want to say thank you for serving on the board. I know it's a lot that y'all have to go through, especially this last year. I'm here basically to speak for, mass choice, because that's our freedom. As my wife spoke earlier about our daughter last year, we're very concerned about her mental health, and that is really coming to play more so, I believe, than COVID ever thought about, because the kids having to be masked, staying at home, because the virtual learning that she did the first semester basically was a joke, because what was being taught virtually versus what the teachers were there are 3 different platforms that did not even know how to communicate or what the lessons plans even were. So anyway, regardless of that, I just really support the fact that we all be able to have choices in our own health that's not to be mandated by the government or any other authority that's over us because of our constitutional rights. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chance. We'll have 3 more speakers before we move on to the business of the board. The other speakers will be allowed to speak afterwards. Erica Warren, Dallas.
Hello, I am Erica Warren. I'm here about mass choice. I want to say thank you, first off, for not breaking the law and holding Greg Abbott's order and not letting the authoritarians tell other kids what to do, other parents what to do. I want to say the first day of school, my child came home and she was so happy. She said, "Mom, my teacher wasn't wearing a mask. I was able to see her smiling at me. She was happy to see friends from last year. She got to see their face. And I was just so incredibly happy. Last year was hell on earth. She cannot breathe in mask. She constantly had headaches. She was also exhausted all the time because it takes up all your oxygen. And I just want to say, please uphold the Constitution. Please uphold parental rights. I made a child with my husband, only him. Only him and I can make decisions for my child. I have no interest in co-parenting with the government or the school board. And I really hate that we're even in this situation where people are pressuring you to do this and that. But at the end of the day, we live in America and we have freedom. I understand people here who want to put their kids in masks because they feel safer that way. That is fine. There's also people here who don't want to mask up their children, and that should also be fine. If masks protect you, then please put your child in a mask if you feel comfortable. If you don't feel comfortable because you think it might make your child sick, then don't wear a mask. It's that simple. Let parents, let people do what they want to do. Do not force anything on anybody's kids because it's unconstitutional and it's very un-American. Thank you.
Thank you, Erica. Patricia Jordan, Lewisville. Patricia Jordan, Lewisville. Tong Blanket, Flower Mound. Blanchett. Sorry. Amanda Blanchett. Jacob Miller, Flower Mound.
President Miller, members of the board, I'd like to say thank you for your service to our community, our children, and your commitment to keep an open line of communication with parents. I have 2 children in LISD, one at Wellington Elementary and one at Flower Mound High. They love their teachers, their principals, their resource officers, and staff. They're proud to be a Wildcat and a Jaguar. I'm speaking tonight on behalf of my family and firmly requesting that LISD stay focused on educating. Our educators are not mask police or paid vaccine advocates. Vaccines are a personal medical decision made by families and healthcare professionals. While masks and the COVID-19 vaccine are being called safe and effective now, we still lack long-term data that guarantees those statements as long-term fact. According to the FDA, there have been a total of 54 separate drug recalls in 2021, drugs that were no doubt originally labeled safe and effective. I'm firmly requesting caution regarding the language we use to encourage the vaccine or masks to my children. Where there is risk, there is responsibility, and LISD would take no responsibility for an adverse vaccine reaction or mask reaction. Additionally, I'm requesting that the board adopt, distribute, and enforce formal policy preventing retaliation against staff, administrators, and students that choose to exercise their freedom of personal choice regarding the COVID-19 vaccine and masks. In closing, our children are watching how we treat our educators, administrators, principals, law enforcement, and medical professionals. As an Army veteran with multiple combat deployments, I've consistently seen proof that cooler heads do in fact prevail. It's my hope that my firm position does not detract from my sincere appreciation and admiration I have for the board and medical professionals in our community. Thank you.
Mr. Miller, also thank you for your service, and for the record, we are not related that I'm aware of, correct? That's going to be our last speaker until we, one more? Yeah. Lewis Way, Flower Mound. Brendan White, Flower Mound.
Good evening, Dr. Rogers, members of the board. I'd like to start by reading a quote from the book Doing Justice by Preet Bharara. Every human being's life in this world is inevitably mixed with every other life, and no matter what laws we pass, no matter what precautions we take, unless the people we meet are kindly and decent and human and liberty-loving, then there is no liberty. Freedom comes from human beings rather than from laws and institutions. I'm here to advocate against the masking of our children in school, and I want to do so by citing data. Over 4.2 million children have tested positive for COVID, and 0.008% of those cases were fatal. According to widely available data, children are more likely to lose their lives by drowning, suffocation, riding on a bike, riding in a car, and influenza. Did any of those in favor of masking kids suggest in 2019 that we mask our kids for influenza, that we outlaw children riding in cars, that we outlaw children riding bikes, that we outlaw swimming pools, that we outlaw lakes? And if we did, would any of those suggestions have been taken seriously at the time? Medical science changes on nearly a daily basis. Anthony Fauci and the CDC, for example, have flipped their position on masking 6 times since the start of this pandemic. Data on the efficacy of masking is ambiguous at best and certainly not definitive enough to override individual liberties. Further, have we considered the long-term negative side effects of forcing kids to breathe in their own carbon dioxide all day? Last month, I presented evidence from the American Health Association that suggested masks were far more dangerous than beneficial to the health of our kids. Have we considered the psychological effects of developing children? I know of at least 2 fathers in this room right now who have a speech-delayed child. These kids need to see the faces of the teachers and the friends that they communicate with. Finally, forcing any medical protocols on the general public sets dangerous historical precedent. Whatever your position, my hope is that we would uphold the oldest of our traditions: kindness, decency, respect, and a love for liberty and for our fellow Americans. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon. Okay, the board's going to move into our regular business, and the last speakers will be able to speak at the end of the meeting. Consent items. Are there any items to be pulled, or would someone like to make a motion? Ms. Prosnick? Oh, Ms. Cox?
Yes, I'd like to pull item 3.3, RFP 282721, venues and media-related services for high school graduation special events.
Thank you, Ms. Cox. Anything else? Anybody else? Okay. Would somebody like to make a motion? Ms. Hassett?
I move that the board approve the consent agenda items as recommended by administration with the exception of the following poll items. What is it? 3B3. 3E3. 3E as in Edward 3 for separate consideration.
H3E3.
Okay. Do I have a second? Ms. Prosnick, any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Mrs. Cox.
Yes, I just had a few questions regarding, we have a lot of emails about the graduation regarding UNT and the Frisco Star. So I just want to address some of their questions publicly and just see kind of, 3 of my kids have graduated from UNT even during the traffic issues, and they all had a great graduation and we're looking forward to the parties afterwards. So it was a good experience. But some of my questions are one of the questions was about taking photos outside. So, and that it was a little too chaotic. Do you just want me to ask them all at once, or would you like me to go one at a time?
Why don't you ask him, and I think Dr. Rogers will be prepared to answer them if that's all right, or would you like to do it differently, Dr. Rogers?
Yeah, no, that's fine. Mr. Miller, I'm going to ask Mr. Plunkett and Mr. Martin to come to the mic because they also have worked on this issue. The first one was about taking photos.
Yeah, families that want to take photos with their kids outside after graduation. It was stated that there weren't places to take photos at UNT.
We spoke with Connie today, or several times over the last couple of weeks at UNT,
about the concourses outside now that the construction is done. One of the biggest problems was the new group arriving was outside when the group was coming outside. So we feel like if we spread the graduations out a little bit more and put more time in between them, that area will be completely empty when they come out and they'll be able to take pictures.
And Ms. Cox, Mr. Plunkett and I actually earlier today discussed the possibility of speaking to UNT and actually creating some type of background outside, that folks, if they chose to, could take pictures at. So.
Okay, and what would that time frame look like, roughly?
About this year at the Star, we ended up putting an extra 30 minutes in, so there were 4.5 hours between, so it would probably be that same amount.
Okay. The next one was a parking situation. How will the flow be handled? That is a little chaotic, I will have to admit. And they were asking about more parking options, but I think that's what they've been working on at UNT, if I'm under the understanding.
Sure. The last time we were there in 2018, they were still under construction with the tear down of the old stadium. Now, with that complete, there's over 1,500 new parking spaces, 240 handicap spaces, and they feel like the traffic with the construction gone is a lot smoother. And then again, adding more time in between we think will help.
Okay, you're doing good here. What about parking with people with disabilities? I will say that I was very impressed with the Star. People were actually able to drive up, and there was someone that worked at the Star would actually let them come in through the underground, which was a little, less cumbersome. The stairs are very cumbersome up at UNT, so how will that be handled and addressed?
They've had specific handicap spots on the east side. Now, those are level with the entryway into. That's what we were been told, that those are now level with the entrance to the building.
Will there be able to be any assistance out there to help direct? Or
I'm sure there will be if we want to pay for it, which certainly would be an option.
Yeah. Well, I would appreciate that, because to me that's very helpful. I mean, when cars are coming in, it is a little chaotic, and we wouldn't want them to miss an opportunity to see their child graduate. So my last question here was just regarding teachers. I know it's a little bit from the situation, but how many teachers in the district are we needing to hire right now, Dr. Rogers?
Yeah, and someone mentioned this earlier, which was not accurate. But we still do have a little over 50 teaching positions open, and about half of those are special ed positions. And that's not just an LISD issue. We actually, thanks to the work of Ms. Smith, did a poll of a lot of our neighbors, and we're actually better off than most. Knock on laminate. The issue is really multiple-fold. One, there's less teachers coming through the pipelines at universities, which is something that we've got to address. They're absolutely, as far as paraprofessional support staff, there's difficulty finding hourly folks, which is no surprise to any of us, because everywhere we go, we see help wanted signs, and so we face that too. Our campuses, our principals are doing a phenomenal job trying to balance that, and we continue to brainstorm. We spent probably an hour discussing different ways that we can solve that, and I know one of the things you approved as part of the consent agenda was one of those items. But anyway.
And then just remind me, what is the difference in the cost for UNT as opposed to the Star?
And I can address that since Mr. Martin provided it. So the difference is $170,000, and I'll be frank, Ms. Cox, going into this after last year's experience, it was a very good experience at the Star in Frisco. And so we had serious considerations about continuing that, and we asked our chief negotiator there, Mr. Martin, to have conversations with the Star and their personnel. They would not give any guarantees of anything over the next 5 years, which makes it very difficult, they'll guarantee for sure it's going up as far as the venue, $5,000 a year per day, but they won't give you any kind of guarantees regarding the cost of the media, which is $50,000 plus. They won't give you any guarantees regarding the cost of police officers and custodians and whatever, as far as, hey, we'll increase it 2%. They made it pretty clear, I think, to Mr. Martin, hey, we've got other people, that are waiting for the space, so it's sort of a take it or leave it. And, for me, it's just very hard to deal with that when that $170,000 is the cost of nearly 3 teachers. And so that's why the recommendation is to go back to UNT. We believe they've answered some of the concerns. I know one of the concerns was the class size of Lewisville High School, which Mr. Plunkett can speak to, but we just feel like it's the best venue for LISD.
So would you address that, please, the class size at Lewisville High School?
Sure. In 2018, the class size was over 1,200 students, and by the time everyone RSVP'd and came to graduation, we ended up with about 50 students that had to sit in the bleachers. Those were students who didn't RSVP and that weren't sure if they were going to walk or not. They kind of decided at the last minute that they were going to. The current graduating class at Lewisville High School right now is about 1,100 students. The Coliseum can hold 1,065 students on the floor. So we've spoken to Mr. Baker several times in the last couple of weeks, and he feels confident that we can make it work. Whether we do something different with the night school graduates and the Learning Center graduates and have separate ceremonies, or if we do what we did this time and just wait and see who's going to RSVP and attend and who's not sure if they're going to walk or not. So the numbers are actually better now than they were in 2018.
Okay, thank you. And just finally, a comment. I appreciate you, hearing some of those items and Dr. Rogers maybe addressing some of those items. But as a board member, it's my fiduciary responsibility to spend taxpayers' money wisely. And I can't see spending $170,000 over for a graduation when it is a fine facility, and we can make some exceptions for some of these items to accommodate some of the things the parents are asking for when we are needing over 50 teachers in our district. So,
Thank you, Ms. Cox. Ms. Brosnick?
We didn't have any complaints from the Star last year, did we?
None that I know of. I don't.
Can I ask, if UNT is such a fabulous venue, why this is only a one-year contract, not a multi-year contract?
It's working basically as two government entities. We did the RFP. They responded. We can go either direction. This is a 1 year, the way the bid was listed, 1 year with 4 one-year options. If the district decides to get into an interlocal agreement for multiple years, they can do that, but they can also, as they responded, it can be as many as 5 years.
And Mr. Martin, in the past, we've actually done it through an interlocal, not a.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It's been
okay.
approximately $50,000
Yeah.
and less, so we've done it as two.
Sorry. We heard from a lot of community members in regards to that they wanted the Star. We heard from them last year after the Star, and these are the reasons I can't support this. The audience capacity difference between UNT and the Star is 2,200. The Coliseum floor cannot accommodate one of our graduating classes. It can't. One student sits up in those stands, it's a different graduation for one of our high schools. That means that we aren't giving 100% to 100% of our kids. Students are why we exist. We don't exist for staff. We don't exist for boards. We don't exist for administration. We exist for students. And I think that every student should have that opportunity to graduate in the best way possible. We spend 6 figures on celebrations where not everybody attends. At our graduations, all of our graduates have the ability to attend. All means all is not a slogan for me. It's how I see this district. It's how I see our students. And I think that 80% is not all.
Ms. Hassett.
2 of my sons graduated from UNT and had great experience, especially the parties afterwards. And one of my students last year graduated from the Star with a great experience. So I like both venues, but I do believe that we need to make sure to serve our students with best fiduciary responsibility. And I believe you have addressed the LHS graduation. I appreciate all your work, and I support this issue.
Mr. Miller. So when talking about other events that are 6 figures, isn't some of that paid for by, isn't the net less than that because it's paid for with ticket sales by?
Yeah, I'm not for sure what specific event. If we're talking about the employee banquet, then a great percentage of that is actually paid for by employees buying tickets. So I wasn't for sure what event. So.
Okay, I would agree with the sentiment. I appreciate your points, Ms. Prosnick. We had probably less than 10 total parents email us, including last year, all from primarily one feeder pattern. I don't think anybody's positioned it as a fabulous venue. I think it's an appropriate venue and a responsible venue. Some of us also had kids graduate from UNT, and if you know, UNT doesn't stagger their graduations that much between schools either, so there was an appropriate place for people to take pictures. I also think that a comparison with staff is a means to an end. This is like the golden goose. We don't want to lop that off. So the investment in staff functions, while it does cost us money, I think, again, it's a responsible and it's not comparable. So with that, I'm going to call the question. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve item H3E3 RFP 282721 venues and media related services for high school graduations and special events.
I have a second. Ms. Hassett, any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Nay. Motion passes 6-1. Information items, Dr. Rogers.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Miller. Board, we have some representatives here from our transportation company, Texas Central School Bus, and so I'd like to ask Mr. Turner to come and introduce them, and they have a brief presentation that they'd like to make. Just want you to, this is their second year with us, and overall I will speak before Mr. Turner. I think they've done a very good job, and we appreciate their efforts.
Thank you, Dr. Rogers, Mr. Miller, members of the board. I'm happy to welcome members of the Texas Central School Bus Management Team, in particular Jessica Smith, the Senior Contract Manager, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Jessica to begin the presentation. You want to run the clicker so you can do your timing, and she'll be introducing her team.
Good evening, Dr. Rogers, Mr. Miller, members of the board, faculty, staff, and families of the LISD community. My name is Jessica Smith, and I'm your Senior Contract Manager with Texas Central School Bus here in Lewisville, Texas. First, I'd like to introduce my local team. If y'all don't mind standing up, this is the amazing team that runs our school buses here and supports me. In addition to that, we also have our corporate team. Texas Central School Bus is responsible for the safe, efficient operations and maintenance of LISD's new 285 bus fleet. We currently operate 228 routes, of which 151 service our general education population, and 77 service our special needs population. Last year, we completed the school year with 250 available drivers. We began this year with 224. We also have 8 additional staff members that are fully licensed to drive. We also have 9 recruits that will test and be fully licensed within the next 2 weeks. Ridership counts are conducted and reviewed regularly. In the beginning of last school year, we had an average daily ridership count of 4,699 students. By the time the school year was completed, we calculated an average ridership of 11,516 students. This fall, our ridership is already at 15,970 students, and we expect this to continue to increase through the year. During the first 4 weeks of school, our on-time performance was lower than our expectations, but this is due to multiple factors. Our current on-time performance is already showing significant improvement. And last year, we completed our year with an on-time performance rating of 92%, with our highest month being at 98% on-time performance to our schools within our district. Our on-time performance as of this week is actually at a 90.78% on-time performance rate. Last year, Texas Central School Bus introduced a new application called Here Comes the Bus, which is actually an amazing app for our community. It's an app that both parents and students can use to track where their students' assigned bus is, when it arrives at their location, and any changes that come out. It is up to date on the moment as soon as we make those changes. There are currently 5,463 families involved in our app. With that, there are multiple families that have multiple students. So where there's 5,463, that doesn't include those families that have multiple applications. Our team communicates with schools directly to share information about this app. We push this out through newsletters. We use it in our call centers. Anytime a parent calls us, we inform them directly about the app as well. We also put this out during our orientation meetings at all of our schools. So we're continually trying to push this and get as much information out about it as possible. So Texas Central builds great teams that provide outstanding customer service while ensuring safety and quality. We conducted 2 surveys last year. The first survey was provided to the LISD principals and administration. The second was an internal survey for the Texas Central School Bus team, so our drivers and our monitors. I'm very happy to share that our survey showed an employee approval rating of 91%, and our LISD survey had a satisfaction rating of 91.89%. These are just a few of the comments that I'd like to share that LISD staff shared back to us. Safety is a priority for Texas Central School Bus, and it's apparent in its service delivery. The communication is much improved over past school years, and the Texas Central staff takes responsibility to problem solve issues head on. This has been the smoothest school year overall in regards to being on schedule. This was our second year operating our call center. It operated from August 2nd to August 18th. Our first year was very successful. However, this year has provided us opportunities to improve. The customer call center was staffed by 8 dedicated individuals, all of which their purpose was to answer incoming phone calls from our parents in our district and any of our admin that needed immediate support. The intent is to provide immediate live representation of the district and information directly to our parents on the spot. The customer call center answered 5,759 calls during its short operation. With the increase in student ridership, we experienced higher call volumes than anticipated. Our goal is to ensure each one of our families is able to communicate with a live person who can answer questions and provide the bus information needed. With that, we've learned valuable takeaways to improve our performance for all future LISD customer call center support. As you are probably aware and have heard throughout the media, there is a national bus driver shortage. There are children in the U.S. that are currently unable to receive ridership whatsoever in the way of school bus transportation. In addition, there are districts that have actually minimized their staffing down to buses being provided for only certain grade levels. To date, Texas Central has not had an interruption in service whatsoever. We attribute our success to our commitment to our employees and our community. Texas Central is constantly striving to recruit, and we actively recruit year-round. Last year, our internal team actually hired 44 drivers. This year, we've already actually hired 13 drivers since the first day of school, and that is hired, trained, and behind the wheel supporting our community. We have been successful in maintaining enough drivers to provide uninterrupted service, and to date it is our goal to continue to provide safe, quality service to the children of our community as well as to our district as a whole. So I appreciate your time. I hope we've answered some of your questions, and with that I'll be followed by Mr. Turner.
Good. And I did want to take a moment to kind of share some of the LISD perspective over the last year and the beginning, the start to this year. As she mentioned, staffing is critical for providing quality student transportation service. And we are fortunate that our district is in a much better position at this time than other districts in the area, even locally in the area. That being said, this year hasn't been without its challenges compared to last year. Last year we were fortunate that when they transitioned into the new role as service provider, they actually met their staffing goal and even had that buffer of about 10 to 15% additional drivers on standby. So, combining that with the lower ridership, the fully staffed, it was a really smooth year overall. This year is a much leaner, tighter staffing model right now. But as they mentioned, they have every route covered. They do sometimes have to do some combining of routes, and they've got their administrative team that has licenses that also help support routes, but they're getting our routes covered, and they're getting, as she mentioned, to already beginning their on-time performance up over 90%, given some of the staffing challenges, is actually pretty remarkable. In addition to that, their staffing model actually has been much significantly improved over our previous contract. We have a fully staffed administrative team. We have some redundancy in the routing team because they work with actually a third-party group to make sure that happens. So we never have interrupted service in our routing, so they're able to always be constantly problem-solving routes, making sure that they're getting experts to come in and take care of the needs of the district. Also want to talk a little bit about communication. As you heard in the survey responses, the communication last year was much improved over years in the past. This year in particular, they did start the year with the call center with some hiccups. You guys probably heard some feedback about the call center early in the year. And I think what they learned from that is that we have to make sure that even though that live customer service support is available, you've got to have the lines dedicated ahead of time to be able to get there. They've got to be able to handle that call volume. And so they've already got some plans in place to make sure that the technology is there, that we have that in place. Ordinarily, we have a streamlined communication system to get to Texas Central School Bus. So there's one main line. When you call in, no matter which of the feeder patterns you're in, no matter which of the 3 bus barns that we service out of you're being served by, you call one line, you can get to a real person. And even if you weren't sure which extension to be putting, you can get to a real person. And I test that when parents tell me they can't get to somebody. We've gotten through the initial start of the school year, and then when parents call me and say, hey, I couldn't get, I call, I dial, and I test it to see which extensions pick up and which extensions don't. And they are very responsive to communication. And typically when I hear from campuses, the first thing they'll say is, I've already spoken to the manager, she was very helpful, but here's what we still need to work on. And so I do think their commitment to communication is evident in our current contract. Certainly they came in with a very detailed plan last year to get started. The part that I really wanted to kind of mention about planning is they are very collaborative with district staff. They work hard to get out in front of ESY, work into plan with special education staff. They've worked hard to get in front of other summer programs and that sort of thing. And certainly with myself, we meet regularly to make sure that we're meeting the needs of the districts and problem solving. And finally, just to emphasize customer service, it was one of the reasons that they were selected and ultimately approved by the Board of Trustees about 2 years ago, was their company's commitment and really culture of customer service is much more reflective and in line with LISD. And so they talked about how they emphasize that. I certainly see that in my day-to-day interactions. And really, when I hear back from parents, when they talk to a manager, they don't just hear from a company voice. They hear from someone who's there to take care of their kids. And so I think I'm really appreciative of the work that they've done. Again, this has been a challenging start to the year, certainly in a lot of areas, but they've stepped up to own that and really make sure that they're improving and really providing a great level of service under the circumstances. So I appreciate you guys' time this evening, and I don't know if there's any questions for them or myself, but I'm certainly happy to listen.
Okay, Ms. Cox?
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Thank you, Mr. Turner. I would just like to give a sincere appreciation to Texas Central for the work that they provide, the bus drivers. I really appreciate they're carrying our most precious cargo. So thank you very much. And I cannot tell you how happy I am about this app. The years that I've served on this board, that's probably been the biggest complaint up here from parents is the bus was late. We had no idea where they were coming. We didn't know what they were doing, or special ed children being out there. So this is so great, and I hope you will continue the efforts to keep more parents getting on that app. That's great, and that it's in real time. But my question is, maybe for you, what protocols are you guys doing to keep the buses disinfected, with safety measures with the lovely COVID-19?
Slide back up here. So we currently do have cleaning supplies available to all of our buses so that they can clean after high-touch areas, after routes. Our bus drivers also have the option to wear a mask if they would like, and we also do keep masks available on buses for any children that would like to wear masks if they would like them.
Hi, thank you for all your work. I actually have 2 kiddos that are riding the bus this year, and I just, again, just want to echo what Ms. Cox said. Love the app. That's great. My high school kid who gets, if the bus is 1 minute late, he's like, Mom, it's not here. So the app is great, so yeah, and I could definitely tell, like, even after Labor Day, it seemed like it came a little bit quicker because I'm sure you got more staff. So
we'll have it by 95%. That's our goal, and we expect to meet that standard. In the last 2 weeks, we've gone up by over 25% in our actual on-time performance.
yeah, so and I just appreciate you actually putting it out there that you're having a hard time, and and we know that. And anyway, thank you for what y'all do. Thank you.
Glad to do it.
Ms. Sells?
Yes, I just want to say I appreciate the 92% and just wanted to make sure that I believe there's a plan in place for you to increase those percentages closer to your 95%. Could you talk a little bit about those plans in the percentage of and I can't remember how you had it labeled on there, but could you just talk a little bit about those plans?
So I apologize. I'm going to ask Jeremy to repeat some of that. I'm wired for sound, so I get an echo on the mic.
Yeah, so what she's asking, Jessica, is what's the plan to get from 92% to 95? What are the types of
How
things
are we going
that
to
y'all
get to that
do?
95% on-time performance? So we actively review our routes. We'll look at different aspects where we have buses arriving early or late, and we can see where we can move different children from one route to another. So we regularly pull our on-time performance. For instance, I was working with one of our routes that actually goes to Flower Mound that starts at Blue Bonnet. We have multi-tiered routes. With that, we realized we have one bus that was full capacity, had a few extra room and seats, but another bus that went to the same school where we looked at it and said, well, if we can move these certain children, these stops over to this other bus that's already at the same school, that'll drop 10 minutes of time off of the first bus, which allows it to get there. So as we pull our on-time performance, we run an analysis of what our actual ridership account is on that bus, how many stops do we have on that bus, and where can we reallocate that. Another thing that really helps us is, as I mentioned, we have 9 drivers that are currently in training about to be licensed. We have another 13 that are in class to get their permits. As we get more drivers on, we're prepared to go back up to our standard routing. We currently, as I said, are operating 228 routes, but we should be sitting at about 235. So as we get more drivers on, we start separating the ridership counts out to more buses so that we can increase our on-time performance.
Thank you.
Kind of along those lines, we have a lot of construction across our 127 miles of fun and frivolity, and we are in all or parts of 13 different communities. What has the communication been like with those cities with the construction that's going on? there and how that affects the bus routes?
Usually we actually get communication directly from Mr. Turner, which is great, so he'll send it directly to me. We're able to push it to our safety team as well as all of our ops managers. Martin Champeau, who manages all of our safety aspects, he'll get notifications from the city. Overall, it's pretty good. We have a great response time when we call for overhanging limbs or extreme potholes. The city as a whole is very supportive from here all the way up to Colony, coming back and addressing any issues that we have.
How's Frisco?
I'm sorry, say.
How's Frisco?
It's not you. I apologize. It's literally the hearing.
Oh, how's Frisco?
Frisco? Frisco, off the top of my head, I would have to ask them. I don't want to give you misinformation, so I can follow up and let Jeremy know.
Just have a lot of construction on Legacy.
I can follow up with that and let you know for sure. Any other questions?
Nope. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you for your time this evening.
Next item, business partnerships update, Dr. Rapp.
Okay, we are pleased this evening to have Lindsay Ayers come provide our business partnerships presentation to all of you. I want to say thank you to Karen Seeley and Adrian Gall for supporting Ms. Ayers in the development of this presentation. And Lindsay, with that, thank you so much for your work, and take it away.
All right, well, good evening, board. You saw me recently, and I'm pleased to be back to give you some year-end numbers from last year. We will start moving to an annual fall update, so the numbers you'll be seeing today are year-end from the 2020-21 school year, and we'll cover the main program areas that fall under business partnerships. You'll see our year-by-year business engagements on the screen in front of you. Financial impact year by year on the screen in front of you. The main difference you'll see here is a large in-kind donation. That did include the 3,000 face shields from Toyota, but that did also push us over the $100,000 mark in both in-kind and sponsorship and grant dollars specifically brought in through the Partnerships Department. Our career out numbers are on the screen in front of you. One thing you'll note is student opportunities for our hybrid session last year could not be compared year by year because many companies gave us an unlimited number of opportunities for students to participate. When we spoke about career out last spring, we were able to share some of those numbers. We did not have the data back from our business and student surveys. Those numbers are on the screen in front of you. You'll see overwhelmingly positive feedback from both students and businesses, even in a hybrid model for Career Out this past year. One of the great opportunities we had this year was sponsoring of the Career Out program. We brought in $10,000 total sponsorships and grants. That allowed 3 seniors to receive MacBook Airs to take with them to college if they could prove a financial need as well as a lack of technology as they were moving on to school. You'll see one of those students pictured on the screen in front of you. All 3 students were very grateful. That was a blind read and judging that we had, and we averaged the scores to get to those top 3 candidates. All students who participated from their homes were able to receive a $10 gift card for lunch since they were not on campus and might have missed lunch. That also allowed us to support local businesses who had been impacted by COVID. We did ask businesses for the names of students who stood out due to great participation or asking great questions during the Career Out program. Those students' names were all put in a drawing, and 10 of those students received Amazon gift cards. And that was all thanks to our businesses who provided sponsorships and grants for that program. Last spring, we held business prep panel discussions with our high school students. The topics covered are on the screen. Those were done with the help of our business advisory. I moderated those panel discussions. They were open to all 5 high schools in both career centers, and we impacted a total of 320 students. When we last spoke, I had fall data from Tech Titans. I did not have our spring data yet. So your spring 2021 information is in front of you. We submitted 5 teachers for STEM Excellence Awards. 3 of them received recognition from Tech Titans. The schools and teachers are listed. Each one of those teachers received a $100 gift card to Target, a plaque, and some swag from Tech Titans. We held STEM panel discussions for middle and high school students, the topic being diversity in engineering. The diversity was shown in the panelists' race and ethnicity, the gender of panelists, as well as the type of engineering practiced by the panelists. and 838 students were impacted for those. You'll see the stats for our STEM question challenge that we held at the end of the year for the Colony High School. Those 17 winners received $50 Walmart gift cards. And lastly, our teacher cybersecurity career discussion. We had 20 teachers participate in that discussion, and they did receive November trade credit. We did host summer internships and jobs. This year, you'll see those stats in front of you. The main distinction between a summer internship and a job, internships tend to align more with a career pathway. When a business was signing up for one of those two opportunities, they could choose if they wanted it to be categorized as an internship or a job. Internships could be hands-on, they could be virtual or in person, paid or unpaid. A job had to be in person and paid. Jobs also went down to the age of 16, so some of our sophomores in the district were able to participate with summer jobs because a lot of our companies hire 16-year-olds. All of the students who were part of those programs did receive a teacher recommendation. One exciting opportunity we had this year was to be part of Thrive. The Business Insights program was new this year, and 14 of our businesses were able to participate. You'll see their logos in front of you. 12 of those partnerships came directly through my contacts. I want to thank Shauna Miller for bringing Milliken to the table and Liz Haas for bringing Bell Helicopter. The topics that were covered by those businesses were leadership, culture, and the skills needed for the future workforce. The sessions were virtual. Each campus leader attended 2 of those virtual sessions, and campus leaders were able to have Q&A with the business representatives around those topics. You'll see their reflections in front of you. For our volley, we turned training virtual this year. There are 2 different training modules, one directed specifically to teachers and what they need to know to utilize the volley platform, specifically to ask for classroom connections. Our front office training is different because front office staff members will use the program differently than our teachers will. So you can see who has completed the program. The nice thing about that training being virtual is that those videos are also able to just be accessed outside of the November trade credit being awarded. So when somebody needs a refresher on how to use a particular aspect of the program, they can go back to that Canvas module. We did hold an office clerk training for 50 office clerks this summer. That was an in-person training. There is online PTA and booster training also available through Google Drive. And we've communicated with campus administration through the Thrive and curriculum websites. We look ahead to this year. There are a lot of opportunities for the partnerships department. One of the newest opportunities surrounds our middle school STEM academies, and you'll see some of the ideas we're brainstorming of ways that businesses might be able to work with our middle school STEM students. Career Out this year, we're looking to hold potentially virtually and in person. If we do that, those will be on 2 different dates for the sake of clarity for both businesses and students. I'll continue supporting Incubator EDU at both LHS and the Colony High School, both with volunteers needed as well as board support for both of those programs. Volley Intellectual Capital will continue to support classroom learning, and we're looking to host teacher professional learning with the help of our business community. Questions you have for me?
Questions down this side? Ms. Cox?
First and foremost, thank you, Lindsay, for all you do to connect our businesses with our school so they can see how truly amazing we are. And many of the students have actually gotten hired from jobs just by having a closer look at what LISD is offering. So I just had 2 questions. One is you mentioned in here about the needs of Incubator. What are you needing currently?
The one need I know of at the moment is the Colony High School is looking for 2 more mentors. They have not asked me to put that out through Volley yet, but when we put that need out for the Lewisville High School program last year, we had overwhelmingly more response than we actually needed. So we're trying to find those through connections with the Colony Chamber Board and events in the Colony as opposed to a blast at the moment.
Okay, everybody, 2 more mentors. The other thing is, I love that we provide internships and opportunities for businesses. I took advantage of that myself as a small business owner. And I was just wondering, is that just a summer program, or let's just say I needed an employee right now or wanted to offer an ongoing internship? How would someone go about a job posting or an internship, and how often is that offered?
Yeah, that's fantastic. So I kept the job board open year-round because Dr. Rogers actually mentioned earlier the wanted signs, hiring now everywhere. We have actually been receiving numerous businesses wanting to hire our students. So I kept the job board open, and I just turned it into, instead of a summer job board, it's just a job website that has been shared with all of our high schools. So any business that wants to post can do so at lisd.net/partnership under the internship tab. And so that forum is live. The same way with internships. If an internship falls directly with the CTE program area, we can connect a business that way. Or if someone comes to me wanting an intern during the year, I just work with campus staff to help find the right person. And that happens kind of it's a much smaller degree than we typically have over the summer, because most businesses think about internships in that 6 to 8 week time frame as opposed to a year-round time frame.
And then how is that information pushed out to students so they know, hey, go look at the job board, there could be ongoing jobs? So how is that information pushed to the students?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I've shared it with the campuses. I asked each campus principal at the high schools who their contacts are for junior and senior class. And then some of the campuses are putting it in newsletters. We have also shared it with the counselors. So we're trying to hit that information out to multiple fronts. And then as I have connections, with the student council leaders, I share that website with them as well.
Great. Thank you very much. I'm very
Absolutely.
appreciative of that.
Ms. Hassett.
Thank you for all your work. I really do appreciate what you do to connect the outside world into learning for our students, because they definitely benefit, and I think our businesses do too. But the STEM Academy additions, I would love you to speak a little bit about that, in particular, especially girls. How do we get girls more interested in middle school STEM so that they're even more interested in high school and beyond?
Yeah, thank you for that question. So we are looking to hold some very specific women in STEM events. That's something that we typically do at the 9th grade level. Pre-COVID, we had an event in 9th grade in the spring, and then we followed it up with a 10th grade event in the fall. So some of those same girls, some of them were different. The 10th grade event was more hands-on. Now that we have middle schools involved, we're looking to trickle that down, most likely because of COVID and middle school STEM being at the 6th grade level. We will probably be holding virtual panel discussions. And the virtual discussions we had last year with middle school, we still got great questions from our students, and the students seemed engaged. The first middle school STEM discussion we will have this year will be taking place this fall. The date we're looking at is October 8th at the moment, and that's just going to be a diversity in engineering. So we haven't scheduled anything specific to women in STEM yet, but we are looking to do so.
Okay, if there are no further questions, discussion items, Mr. Youngs, I just want you to know this is the one presentation I look forward to the most every week.
Thanks,
Because
Lindsay.
of the way you present it. Thank you, Lindsay. So have at it.
May I suggest there's a whole lot of things in life that are way more important than this. I suggest you involve yourself in some of those.
Maybe more important, but not as exciting.
Thank you. Let me draw your attention to your board book, page 139, and remind the board and the public this is 11 months into the fiscal year as of the end of July. The column on the most left, that was the original budget that the board approved last August for the 2021 school year. If you go down about halfway down the page, you'll remember that we adopted a $12 million deficit for the 2021 school year. Based on what we know right now, we think that we'll not have that kind of a deficit, that in fact the deficit will be less than that. We'll get a little bit sharper numbers as we move through the closing of the year and as we move through the audit. Now let me draw your attention to the second column from the right up at the top. Revenue is coming in at about 503. It was 475 a year ago, so we're ahead of last year but behind budget. So we're 27 million short on revenue, but our spending, if you go down about half the way, we're well under spending 104 million, so that more than overwhelms the loss of revenue. So we have a surplus through the end of July in the general fund of about $62 million. We're not going to have that stay through the end of the year. We're going to spend a lot of August money, obviously, to get the year going. But it looks encouraging that we'll not have the deficit of 12 million. The school nutrition fund revenue is almost 18 million. It was 19 last year. We have a profit of about 1.3 million. At this point last year, we were at break even, so we're stronger this year in food service and doing okay. Debt service, we have a surplus of 140 million, but that's will get spent when we make the August debt service payment. We pay debt service in February and August, and so that's a little bit high, but will get spent this month of August. That concludes the financial report. If you look at page 146, you can see that our cash portfolio is earning less than 1%, but more than the 180-day Treasury bill. And that's been consistent all year long. That concludes my report. Mr. Martin.
Ms. Hassett.
Mr. Youngs, thank you very much for that. I agree, it's also very exciting. I just want to make sure that we did make our August payment, but this is 1 year lag, a 1 month lag, and so it's not showing up.
This report is as of the end of July.
So
a month from now,
we'll see.
Yeah, as of the end of August, we will have made that.
Thank you.
August payment.
Thank you, Mr. Youngs. So it occurred to me that one of the sad facts of not being able to fill all our positions might be some budget savings. Is that probably the case to some of this?
That conclusion is appropriate.
Okay, thank you. We hope to not have that problem for much longer, but still.
Mr. Youngs, as always, thank you very much for that.
Certainly.
Okay, we have 2 items left and about 10 speakers if they're still here. So consideration approval of district improvement plan. Dr. Rapp.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Miller. So I made the presentation last month. Really not much more to add than that. I would just remind that we'll be bringing forward updates to the DIP in December, February, and June. And then you will have student learning updates courtesy of Dr. Fitzhugh and Ms. Gall's team. I think will be a part of those as well in November, January, March, and June. I thank you for your questions. I think the DIP reflects learning and growing from all your questions, and so thank you so much for that.
Dr. Rapp, thank you, and all the staff that contributed to this, as well as the subordinate campus improvement plans. So with that, if someone would like to make a motion. Ms. Hassett. Oh.
I move that the board approve the 2021-22 district improvement plan as recommended by administration.
Second by Dr. Bonner. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Dr. Roger, you ready?
I'm ready, Mr. Miller. In May of 2017, the board approved a District of Innovation plan as required through TEA, and by May of 2022, that's required again, and so we are asking that the board approve the new DOI committee, which consists of community members, parents, staff members, so on. That's been headed up by Sean Sheehan, and I know each of the trustees submitted a representative, and so that's really all I have.
Okay. Mr. Sheehan, thanks for all your work on this. You weren't here when we did this in 2017. It was certainly a lively topic for us, and then the legislature threw in the early start time and changed everything. So with that, would someone like to make a motion? Ms. Hassett? Nope.
I move that the board approve the District of Innovation Committee membership as presented by administration.
Do I have a second? Ms. Cox? Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Okay. At this time, we'll revisit item G, persons desiring to address the board. As a reminder, no presentation shall exceed 3 minutes, except for those who don't reside here. They'll get 1 minute. The board cannot deliberate on any subject that is not included on the agenda. Pamela Cully, Frisco. Well, good for you for sticking it out.
My name is Pamela Coley, and I am an in-district mother of LASD. First, I want to thank you all for not masking our children. I know you've all been under tremendous pressure, and I appreciate you keeping these children and parents free to do what is best for their families. I have with me the Texas Education Code 37.0023, and I just want to point out that it prohibits specific techniques for behavioral intervention. These laws are specifically written to prevent harm on our kids in even the worst case scenarios. It is common sense that if these laws are to protect our kids from harm during discipline, they would also protect our kids from these actions when not being used for discipline. The law specifically and adamantly prohibits such aversive techniques that would, and I quote, inflict significant physical or emotional discomfort, end quote. And those instances are referred to in the Texas Education Code as, and I quote, impairs the student's breathing, including any procedure that involves obstructing the student's airway, including placing an object in, on, or over the student's mouth or nose, or placing a bag, cover, or mask over the student's face, or inhibits, reduces, or hinders the student's ability to communicate. Again, this is Texas Education Code, not the executive order. I challenge you not to get drawn into additional litigation over what is deemed illegal and or referred to as inflicting intentional harm at taxpayers' expense. LASD should focus their dollars to the community to advance the children in reading, writing, and mathematics because it's about the children, and we will all be held accountable for what we do for these children and against them. Let's stand for the children and get back to the basics. Bringing prayer back into school would definitely change things quicker and faster than any SEL or CRT or any other acronym that brings division and socialism to these young minds. God bless you all.
Thank you, Ms. Cully. Austin Donner, Flower Mound. Anne Marie Alone, Flower Mound. Cheyenne Beaver, Flower Mound. Chris Mayberry, Lewisville. Jan McDowell, Carrollton. Aaron Davis, Lantana. Eric Wilhelm, Flower Mound. If there's no further business, this meeting is adjourned. The time is 9:27 p.m. Thank you, everybody, for your participation.